Alright, yo, what's good? So I wanted to do a quick video kind of showcasing these two trackball designs. Oops. And it's because I did look up videos to kind of research, and I couldn't really find any videos on this Nulea mouse trackball. There was like maybe 3 or 4 videos, and it didn't give me enough information that I wanted, which was a comparison type of video. I'm doing this for the people who are really big fans of the Marble FX like I am, because I don't know how many of us are out there, but I do know that we exist, where I've used this for well over a decade now, and I've refused to change. It's just such a good design that I think that no other design that I've tried comes anywhere close to the comfort and the feel of this mouse. When I use it, it feels like home. It feels perfect, and I love it. The other thing is that I just don't like the way that most mice are designed. I would say that like 98% of all mice designed are terrible for ergonomics. And the main thing is this, is you can see the shape of this mouse, right? And then when excuse the bandages, I was working outside and then I got this in the mail just now. So I was excited to take it out and give it a little whirl. But anyways, when you place your hand over a normal mouse, your thumb and ring finger want to curl in to grab it and get a better hold of it. And it just feels really uncomfortable to me. And mind you, I don't have carpal tunnel or any issues with like my hands or my joints or anything like that. It's not an issue of like, oh, this hurts me. This is just more of an issue of like, I want my ring and my pinky to have support, and they never design a mice or a mouse that has the support for your ring and pinky finger, and it doesn't make any sense to me. So I basically only use mice for casual work or if I'm playing video games, and I'm not much of a gamer anymore, so I pretty much just use my Trackman Marble FX all the time. Now, the downside to this Trackman Marble FX is a few things. First of all, you can tell it's wired, it's from the 90s, and if you want to use it, you need an adapter for the USB, okay? Because it only has a PS2 port. I think there's more modern version of this that comes with a USB, thing here, but this has worked for me for a long time now, so I've never gotten a new one. And because they're older, they're hard to find and they're more expensive on the used market, and then I just never bothered to upgrade or whatever. Anyways, I wanted to showcase, sorry for the rant, I wanted to showcase the differences between these two that I've noticed so far, and it's just based on my first 10-minute impression of it. So the first thing is, obviously you can see the design differences, right? This has a bigger ball, a little bit smaller of a ball, but it still has the right click here for your ring finger. When you place your hand over it, that's where the right click is. And then, you still have the thumb for the left click. The thing that this Nulea does is it adds a scroll wheel where your thumb is, and then it adds a forward and a back. With this, the FX, I would usually bind this button to back and then this button to middle mouse click. So basically you hold this button and then you scroll with the ball. You can still achieve this on the Nulea one by holding in the scroll wheel mouse button, right? You just hold that in and then you can scroll with your trackball. You could also obviously just use the mouse wheel to do that. Now, the other thing that's a little bit of a difference is obviously the shape or ergonomics of the device. When I place my hand on the Marble FX, it's a little bit heightened in terms of like where the angle of my hand is going, like it's a little higher, whereas this is a little lower, right? The other thing to consider here is that the thumb button, which is your left click, it's a little bit different. You're pressing down here to get that click, whereas this one, it's almost like an inward down click, so you're going at an angle this way to click. Very minor, but I'm just trying to show you the differences because this is what I would have want to see if I'm trying to change from my Marble FX to my Nulea. So this is, I'm just trying to show you the differences. The other thing to consider is the difficulty of using it. So the basically this is just a plug and play, right? The Nulea one, all you do is either you can connect it to Bluetooth, so it has 2 different Bluetooth modes you could connect to, or the USB dongle in here. It also can connect from the USB-C here where you charge it, and then you can change the DPI on the fly with the button. So that's a really nice bonus for me personally, and the reason why I went out and tried to find a replacement for my Marble FX. I would not replace this if it did not work. And the main thing is it works great with my Windows device because I can just put X input on the Windows device and I can bind my keys appropriately. With Linux, there seems to be a lot of issues there and it's not really working with my Linux. And personally, I'm going through the process of basically ditching Windows completely and moving over to Linux completely. Whereas in the past, I was more of like, I had a Linux on my laptops, you know, or things like that for fun. And my main computer was a Windows device for a long time now. And Windows 11 finally did it in to where I can no longer use Windows. I'm done with it. So I kind of have to find a replacement for my Marble FX for my new desktop, which is going to be completely Linux. I'm not even going to dual boot it to Windows. There's no point. It's unnecessary. I'm just switching over completely to Linux. And because of that, I needed to find a trackball that worked, that could replicate the Marble FX, meaning that it had to have this basic layout where you're using your index or middle finger to move the mouse or the trackball, and it had an ability to use the scroll button with your trackball, right? Like those were the main things, obviously with your buttons here on the sides as well. So that was the major concern for me. Now, one thing I will note is that it does feel a little bit different in my opinion. I would prefer the Marble FX. If I could stay with it, I would just keep using it. And that could probably be either muscle memory or just nostalgia of using it for so long. And this feels like home, whereas this feels a little awkward. It's not uncomfortable, right? I'm not gonna say that there's a negative to this at all because I haven't used it for long enough to claim any negatives. But just based on first impressions, it feels awkward because it's a new position that my hand is sitting in, right? It just feels a little different. Not in a bad way, just feels different. One thing that I would say though is I'm not a huge fan of where this button is placed. I would rather it be larger, like so it could come out to here, because based on where my hand is sitting, see where my thumb is sitting while my hand is sitting on this, right? It touches this corner, and I think that's interesting. I feel like this button could have just been extended all the way out so that my full thumb is sitting here, because look at how big they made this right click, right? I think, so that's an interesting concept for me. Not obviously, it's not a deal breaker or anything, it's just something that I noticed right off the bat. But if you're looking for a replacement for your Marble FX, I would definitely say to give this Nulea one a try, just because it's really easy. Like, all you have to do is plug it in and it works, you know. This is a forward button, this is a back button, you got your scroll wheel, you got your left click, your right click, and then you got your trackball, and everything works flawlessly with no issues. You just plug it in and play. Whereas this one, on every device that I've ever plugged it into, I've had to set it up or configure it or download programs or whatever, and maybe for some it's worth it. And I would say that if I was still using Windows, I probably would never have even looked for a new trackball. But since I'm switching over to Linux, I need a new one, right? And I would say that the other main thing for me is I wish it was different, to where this trackball size was here. There's just something about the way that you move this large trackball. It feels very precise. It feels like you have a lot of control over it, and it just feels really nice to move. This is very light, there's no resistance, it flows very smooth. I have no complaints. It's mainly just a preference thing of, I think a larger ball is nicer. If I could, I would kind of merge these two designs into one to create the ultimate, but if you're someone who loves your Marble FX, I would say give this a shot and see if you like it, because just from my first like 10 to 15 minutes of using it, I would definitely recommend it. It feels good in general, like it feels very comfortable and stuff. And mind you, I'm not someone that's using a trackball because I have carpal tunnel or any issues like that. I don't have any joint pains or things like that when using a mouse. It's more so that I think it's really uncomfortable when my mouse sits and I'm clawing into my mouse. You can see here where my fingers claw into it, and it's just very uncomfortable to me. So that's like the main reason why I use a trackball, is because it gives me full support for my hand. But like literally, if they made a design that was this trackball like right here, and it just had buttons instead of the trackball, right? So if you pulled out the trackball, and if this was just my mouse, this is what I would want to use for a mouse, because this feels right. This feels like my whole hand is supported, all my fingers are supported, none of them are dangling, I don't have this weird claw thing going on. It just feels comfortable, right? My hand just rests on it. So like literally just take this and make a mouse, and I would use that 24/7. But since they don't do that, I'm using a trackball. The other thing is, I don't like trackballs with the thumb. I think they're very uncomfortable. After a long time of using it, it becomes something where it's like exhausting to use and no longer comfortable. Whereas when I'm using my Marble FX, like, damn, as soon as I put my hand on it, I'm like, damn, that just feels right. That feels like home. That feels comfortable. That just feels like a mother's embrace, you know, like this is where I want to be. So this one is not, in my opinion, not as comfortable, but it's right up there. So again, if you're looking for a replacement, I definitely recommend it. Give it a shot, because this one I picked up for 24 bucks on eBay as like an open box. Basically, it had everything still. So like if someone did buy it and use it, they probably only used it for 30 minutes and said like, this ain't for me, and I got it. So I think they're a little bit more expensive, but I feel like for 24 bucks, it was definitely worth the price of to take a leap on it, I guess you could say, to see if I would like it. And overall, I'm very happy with the purchase. And that's kind of why I'm making this video, so that I can showcase to you the similarities or differences between the two, so that if you're looking to upgrade or to change, maybe go with this one. You know, like, it's a bummer to say this, but I just think that based on my own personal experience, I'm gonna have to retire my Marble FX, which is very sad and very uncomfortable to say. I'm not happy about that. I literally wish I could just like take out the guts and turn it into a more modern one like this, where it works when you plug it in, right? But unfortunately, that is not the case, and I'm just gonna have to give it up. So this Nulea will be taking over, but there's your comparison video. Thank you for watching. Peace.